in order to own land. That's how that worked. Mm-hmm. And so I had him coming in, and the chancellor said, "This is Farmer Joe, and he's here to swear fealty because he bought that lot." Blah 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 blah. And Tom was like, "Oh, cool! I want to do this the real way they did it." So Tom then gave us a primer on the ritual, which was the swearee kneels down in front of the noble who's standing, and he holds his hands out like this, and then the noble puts his hands around that guy's hands, and then that guy swears to follow his direction, the Duke's directions, and to be a good member of the Duke's family. And then the Duke swears to provide him with all he needs to make his businesses prosper and his family safe. He had the whole dialogue all written out. And so he told us this, and I said, "Cool, let's do that." And I knelt down, and I was a farmer. And I did that, and it was really cool role play. And when we got done with that scene, Paul said, "Would I have had to have done that at some point to become his general?" And both Tom and I were like, "Oh yeah, definitely." He said, "I'd like to do that." So they did their scene together, and it was emotionally intense to be in that physical position. I mean, it had a psychological impact. And then quite proud of this. This hard thing was an old lady. Sorry, the morphine's killing my tongue. An old lady came in with a young girl with her, and they were like, at that point, after we did the swear-ins, we kind of kept LARPing. Tom sat in this one chair in the living room. Paul stood next to him holding an invisible sword, and that kind of stuff. So this old lady comes in, and Tom's like, what's up? And basically goes, "You have to save this girl. Her mother died last year, and her father is being inappropriate with her." And so Tom said, "Go get her dad and bring him here." So Paul goes and gets him and brings him in. And while that was going on, he asked the daughter a couple questions, and she, of course, was just like, "Oh, I'm fine. Daddy loves me. I love Daddy. Everything's fine. I don't know what the old lady's talking about." The dad gets in there, and he's like, Braddock was an impressive character.
Yeah.
He was tall, he was thick, he always wore full plate armor. I mean, he was scary, and he shows up.
And I was a general who had come up from the ranks. So
yes.
I wasn't some noble. I was actually a guy who knew how to fight.
Yeah. So he shows up at this guy's house and says, "The Duke wants to see you." And the guy goes, "Why? I haven't." And he goes, "You're coming." I mean, Paul was...
That wasn't what I said.
Right.
I wasn't saying, "Explain to me why."
Paul was hot. And so when they get him into the extra court, he's like, what am I here for? I don't understand why. I mean, he was very belligerent to the Duke. And Tom was very cool. He just kind of ignored that. And once the guy simmered down enough, Tom said, "You've been accused of being inappropriate with your daughter," and blah, blah, blah.
Your wife is a very nice person.
Holy shit.
I'm going to put this in the fridge in here.
Please. That's like my favorite drink.
Blaine,
Yes.
the CNA is here,
Uh-huh. I knew she was coming.
and she's here to show us here.
He, of course, denied this stuff. And he accused the old woman of being mad at him because he took a piece of her land because she couldn't keep it up anymore, which was legal. And she's just being I'm going to get you in trouble and stuff. And so those two are, the old woman and the dad are yelling at each other, and Tom is sitting there wondering what the truth is. And he said to the druid, "I want you to take this girl do magic on her and find out the truth. So he adjourned everything until the next day. And the next day he sent Paul out to round up all the people, and the druid reported, and basically the druid said, yeah, he's sexually molesting her on a regular basis. But she doesn't consciously perceive it as being wrong. He set her up, you know how they do that. He said, okay, that's all I need to hear. And bam, the guy starts going, that's a lie, that's a lie. That druid doesn't know what she's talking about. And Tom said, the Duke said, stop talking. And he turned to the little girl and he said, do you understand everything that's going on around you? And she was actually like 16, but she was somewhat stunted because of that. And she said, I think I do. And he said, okay. And she said, please don't do nothing to hurt my daddy. I love my daddy. I don't think what you're all worried about is actually hurting me. And, you know, please don't hurt my daddy. And I'll never forget this, because I thought, I've given Tom a humdinger of a thing here, you know. It didn't occur to me, he'd just grab his wizard and say, find out the truth. Boy, wouldn't that be cool if we could do that in our courts. And he just paused for a second, and he kind of sat up like he's talking to the whole court. And he said, well, the love of this girl for her father is admirable. What her father is doing cannot be allowed to persist. So I sentence you to immediate death. And he like pointed at Paul. Paul grabbed the guy by the scruff of his neck, took him outside, and with his own sword, he was removed. And then Tom told Paul that he was now responsible for that girl's upkeep and safety. And that started a whole storyline because the two of them fell in love. And but now I gotta go work with this lady for a little bit.